Welcome to the Munro Review, where it's all about connecting, sharing, and valuing the arts in the central San Joaquin Valley. I'm Donald Munro. Today is December 28th, and we're going to be talking about the busy art scene in January. On today's show, we'll be visiting with Fresno artist Scheid, who has a new exhibition for Art Hop. We'll hear from two of the stars of Selma Art Center's Disney's High School Musical, and you'll get another chance to take a chance on Good Company's Mamma Mia. But first, let's recap some of what I've been covering on MunroReview.com. Two of my reviews from the past month were very well read. It's probably because, well, I was a little cranky. But the first was my take on The Lion King, which I did not fall head over heels for. Now, this is the national tour we're talking about. I don't think Mufasa would be very happy with me. The tour took 21 years to get to Fresno from Broadway, and it was handsome enough. But there was something about the production that just felt a little ho-hum, from the way the circle of life animals had to enter on the extreme sides of the Soroyan Theater because it doesn't have center aisles, to the imprecision of some of the choreography. The second review was of the Fresno Philharmonic's annual holiday concert, which boasted an underwhelming world premiere of a piece titled Sugar Plum on the Run, along with the usual holiday tunes. I would have been okay, I think, if I could have skipped Sleigh Ride with that infernal trumpet solo at the end. But you whinny some, you lose some. Another popular story from the month was my piece on the Wind Symphony of Clovis. It was founded just a year ago, but it snagged an invitation to a world-renowned music educator conference in Chicago. Congratulations to conductors Gary Gilroy and Christine Keenan and the 75 musicians in the ensemble. I wrote an idiosyncratic last-minute gift guide for the holidays that you just might find handy for yourself. The items all have a connection to Fresno and a connection to me. They include Diana Markham's book, The 10th Island, Benjamin Boone's CD, The Poetry of Jazz, and even world-acclaimed coffee from the family of Joan Obra, who used to be a food writer at the Fresno Bee. She lives in Hawaii now. So here's a use for all those Amazon gift cards you received. Also of note from the month, the organizers of the annual Swedefest Short Film Festival don't give out official awards, so I had some fun giving out my own. I also reviewed a number of theater productions, including Fresno State's Miss Bennett, Christmas at Pemberley, and I had some thoughts on Elf Jr. at Children's Musical Theater Works. For fans of the visual arts, I have an in-depth look at the Kei Sekamachi retrospective at the Fresno Art Museum, which continues through January 6th. So you only have a little bit of time left to get out to see that. Plus, I'm keeping the holiday spirit going, or at least digesting, through January 5th with my Tower District-themed 12 Days of Christmas. The lyrics come from the recently closed Good Company Players Holiday Show. As of December 31st, when this episode will debut, the song goes, "On the 7th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 7 chicken pies, 6 shows at Roger Rocca's, 5 items from the dollar store, 4 Piamani specials, 3 Richie's hot dogs, 2 Kuka's tacos, and a season ticket at the second space." Check back each day for my updates. Finally, don't miss my top 20 cultural events of 2018, which is always one of my most popular features. It will be posted by the time this episode debuts, and you can read the list at MunroReview.com. Now, let's welcome our first guest. Scheid's newest exhibition, which is titled Blue for the Pilgrim, opens January 3rd at Fig Tree Gallery, and she's here to tell us about it. Welcome, Anne. Thank you. Thank you so much. So you are opening for Art Hop.
I am, January the 3rd.
Now, I understand that this exhibition is a bit of a departure for you. You are known for your black and white drawing. You were a professor at City College for more than 20 years. Yep. Now you're retired and you can spend pretty much all your time doing your art. Tell us what's different about this show.
This show began 2 years ago, and I decided to do some experimenting, break out of some molds and try some new things. So basically you make messes and mistakes, make some really ugly art. And I started working in watercolor. something I have wanted to do and haven't had a strong enough pull to do that, and it shifted. So I started playing with watercolor. So there is color in the show.
And when I walked in this afternoon and looked at your art, I was surprised to see that color. Do you get that reaction from,
no one's
from people?
seen it yet.
No one's seen it yet, but you're thinking at that art hop opening, people are going to be pretty surprised.
Oh, I'm in the wrong place. This isn't Ann Scheid's work. Yes, it's new, but I'm excited about it. I think some people will be disappointed because you get set and you like a certain thing that somebody's doing, and I think there's enough continuity to the older work. I still have a strong connection to the natural world. The earth, sky, and the human figure is still there. The human body is still present. So those things are there. I'm still a person who draws, and with watercolor, people might call me a painter, but I'm a person who draws.
Okay.
And I think of myself more as a person who draws and works with all kinds of media. And the works are all on paper.
Okay.
Which is an important aspect of the work.
So you brought some examples today to show us, and
I did.
I wanted to ask you about the one that's behind me here. That is actually kind of an example of your dedication to place. Is that how you would describe it?
I would say yes, that's true, but I would expand what you just said. Place is I've lived here for over 25 years now, and place is important to me and how much it affects me and inspires me. And Fresno and its environs, I wouldn't move from here. I'd like to change the air, but other than that,
I think we all would love to change the air.
The sense of place that's here affords us a connection to the earth with the farmers that we know, but the people that grow our food, and we have a connection to water and air and sunlight in a way that I grew up in the Midwest. We didn't. And particularly water in your works.
Yes. And so this one behind me, and what is have you titled your works?
This one is called The Atmospheric River.
Okay.
But the series is called the River Series, and it was inspired by John Steinbeck. His work, Cannery Row, he pauses the narrative and describes the Carmel River. And it's the most beautiful description of a river. And I got to the end of it and I thought, oh yes, I need to do a series on the river. And I have strong connections to the San Joaquin. So the series, of course, is not about a particular river as much as it is metaphoric. Each of the drawings is done on paper, a handmade Japanese paper, and each of them has some kind of a river passing through the drawing. And there's also a human body in each one and some surprise elements coming through.
Okay. Well, that's a good tease to get people to come see the show. Now, you had an exhibition at the Fresno Art Museum recently. It was actually a pretty extensive thing because you were actually showing at 3 different venues, but this is the first time since then that you'll be showing.
That was in 2016, so this is new work since then. So 2 years in the making, and so everything in the show will be new.
Now, this piece that's right here in the middle, this looks like collage.
It is.
And so is this also a departure for you?
A person that likes to do paper is inclined to move towards collage kind of easily. So yes, this series, in the show there's 3 different, it's nice when a show is just like a single thing. There's 3 different aspects. There are 3 different series in the show. And this series is called Seams, Edges, and Openings. And you can see that they're composites. They feel to me they feel like cosmic little universes. This is the smallest in the series, and I just brought the smallest because it was easiest to carry.
And then this one to your right, that is definitely a colorful,
yes, it is.
An example of your color. Were you surprised when that kind of came out of you as an artist?
Delighted.
Delighted.
Delighted. When you start working with a new medium, the learning curve is painful. And so when things happen, you have an idea and you start working towards it, and it's nice when you kind of go, oh, that's great. And 2 weeks later, you still think it's pretty good. So watercolor is, watercolor is powerful and has a mind of its own. When I stop trying to control it and just let it do what it's going to do, it's just brilliant and get out of the way. So this is one where I got out of the way.
Oh, okay. So for an artist, do you get nervous for an art hop opening?
Yes.
Because you're really putting yourself out there.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
It's interesting. I find myself more nervous about this show, and I think it has to do. This show is so new, and it feels like I was more vulnerable and put myself in this show more. Not that I wouldn't have said I didn't put myself in
Right.
other shows. And I'm like, okay, I'm really exposing myself.
You're putting
in
yourself
this
out
one.
there. So your show's at Fig Tree Gallery, and when does it run through?
It runs through February the 3rd,
February
so it's
the
up
3rd.
for 5
So
weeks.
people have a chance, and of course you can go see it on Art Hop. Well, thank you so much, Anne, for coming in.
You're welcome.
I think this sounds really exciting for you.
Thank you, Donald. I
Great.
appreciate the opportunity.
We're going to take a short break, and when we return, we're going to be going to high school with Selma Arts Center's High School Musical. Welcome back to the Munro Review. At the Selma Arts Center, a group of young people is getting ready to go back to high school musical, that is. Let's welcome Alyssa Martin and Katie Greene, two of the stars of the show.
Thank
Hi.
you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
So when I heard that this was Selma Arts Center, and I knew that the two of you were coming in, I figured, oh, they're probably from Selma, but that's not the case.
Nope.
Have you been to Selma Arts Center productions in the past?
Yes.
This will be my 5th production there, so
Your
I've
fifth,
done a few
okay,
there. Yeah.
okay.
And this is my first
Your
there.
first.
Yeah.
So this is what they call one of the teen shows. Is that correct?
Right, yes.
And there was one teen show previous to this,
Yes.
Yes, they did School of Rock last year,
Last
and this will be
summer.
the second one. Yes.
which was very successful. And so, what made you to decide that you wanted to be in High School Musical?
Well, I love this show, and I've always wanted to play this role, and I've always wanted to do something out at Selma. So I was like, it all came together in one perfect harmony.
And you play Sharpay.
I do.
We'll get into that in a moment.
Sure will.
And what do you play?
I play Gabriella.
And so you're the kind of the heroine, the ingenue.
Yes, the Vanessa Hudgens character. Yeah.
And were you also a big fan of the?
I didn't watch it when it came out. I knew it was popular. All my friends loved it, but I never watched it until a couple years ago. And then, obviously, I thought it was adorable. I loved it. Yeah.
So for those of us who are not High School Musical literate, kind of give us the pitch.
Sure. So it's about a boy and girl who meet on vacation and then find out they're going to the same school together. And they both have these cliques. He's a sports star and she's kind of a brainiac. And they both want to do the school musical. But in order to do that, they have to break through the status quo and all these ideas that are set for them and kind of discover who they really are to do this musical together.
So it's best known for the TV movie version,
Yes.
right? And so that was Zac Efron.
Yeah.
Played the, is it Troy?
Troy, yeah.
And then Vanessa Hudgens played
Gabriella.
your character. Do you remember seeing that for the first time?
Oh, yeah.
What-
Well, I do, yeah.
Do you remember
I
how old
do.
you were? Or
I was like 6 or 7 when
Okay.
it first was released.
and did you just love it?
I
at the
did.
first-
I loved it. And when I was little, I wanted to like play Sharpay someday. It was like my first dream role. So it's really cool that this is happening.
So your own high school experience, now you're still in high school and you're actually at Fresno State right
Right.
now. Did you,
Fresno City,
do you
yeah.
see very much, is there like truth in this story? I mean, are there well, Are there sports stars who would actually go and try out for the High School Musical? Is the
Yeah.
question.
I want to say, yeah. I was homeschooled, so this is my high school experience.
Oh, okay. You're getting to experience
yeah, this
it.
is what it is, yeah.
There are some cases where the sports stars do it, but it's very dramatized in the movie as it is to real high school. Like, it's a way over the top.
Right, right.
But yeah.
It's Disney.
Yeah, it's so Disney.
So tell me about the relationship between your two characters.
Oh, we hate each other.
We're enemies, definitely.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
you just hate each other.
Yeah.
Now, do you know each other well off stage?
We've been best friends for 4
4
years.
years.
So
I
what
think,
is
yeah.
that like to have to play?
Oh, it's a
love
dream
it.
come
It's
true.
so fun.
And do you ever find yourself like in character after you are through with rehearsal?
I think
Is
we're
it-
both very similar to our characters in
Yeah.
certain ways.
Okay.
So we get to bring a lot of ourselves to the characters, but we don't actually hate each other.
We
So
don't. We like each other a lot.
But you get to, it's like you get to work through some things. and-
Yeah, we get to.
yeah.
If we're ever fighting, then we can just fight on stage.
It's a
So
lot of fun.
your characters are essentially both fighting over the same boy.
Yeah.
Is that
and
the
the
case?
same part in the musical.
And the same part in the musical. Have you been up against each other for a role that you had to compete for?
not
or-
really.
We're different.
We have very different
casting
styles.
types.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
okay.
we've never really been up for the same thing.
Okay. So tell me where you both go to. Okay. So you go to Fresno State.
Fresno City. Yeah.
Fresno City. Okay. And you go to.
I go to Clovis High.
You go to Clovis High. Is High School Musical still popular amongst?
Oh yeah.
It
Like
kind
your
of has like
age-
a fan following, like almost
Yeah,
a cult
it's very
following.
cult.
It's very popular.
And is it the TV movie version that people are
Oh, yeah.
mostly
Yeah,
hooked
for
on?
sure.
Of course.
I know it's been done a couple of times on stage.
Yeah.
What are the differences between the stage production and then what people know from the TV musical?
Well, there's some new songs.
There's a couple
that-
new characters
There's
too.
some new characters, and it has it has the same story, but a little bit of a different like flow, I could say.
It does a good job of keeping it fresh and new for people who've maybe seen the movie a lot, but also staying true to what everyone
Their
knows
material.
and loves.
And that's always a hard thing to do, is to be
Yeah.
able to take something that people know that they've seen in a movie or on
Right.
TV and then transfer it to the stage. Do you both get big solo numbers?
She has,
I think I have 4 duets with the guy who plays
Yeah.
Troy.
Okay.
and then I
So-
have a couple duets and then big solos and big group numbers.
And
so.
is it for you? Is it a dance-heavy show as well?
For the ensemble, they're doing some
Yeah.
crazy stuff.
Okay.
We don't dance
We get to
much,
sit easy.
but it's definitely a lot of energy and fun
Yeah.
on stage. Yeah,
So
Straining.
this show, the Selma show, is actually ages 12.
I think we have
Through-
ages 12 through 19.
Through
It's a
19.
teen production.
And did they make any changes to the junior version that you know that is different from what people might have seen?
I don't know if
I
there
don't-
is a junior
there is
version.
a junior
There is?
version,
Oh,
but
well,
I've-
we're not
Oh,
doing
this
that.
isn't the junior version.
No,
Okay.
This is a full version.
It's just that it's kind of the youth company.
Yeah,
And is
yes.
there an actual name for that company? Do you call yourselves the?
We don't have a name just
No.
yet.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe you should have a contest. Maybe some
We-
of our readers
That's a
can,
good
That would be a
idea.
great idea.
can come up with something. So tell us, when does High School Musical open?
We open January 11th and we run through January 19th.
So that's only 2 weekends.
It is.
So people
Don't
have to
miss
make
it.
plans.
Yeah.
They can't wait around or else they're going to miss it.
And it's going to be a good show, so you better come.
Well, it sounds really exciting. I haven't seen it in like 5 years.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to see something
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
like that. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so
Thank
much
you very
for
much.
coming in. We're going to take a short break, but when we return, we'll figure out who the father is with Good Company Players' Mamma Mia.
Let the past die. It's the only way to become who you're meant to be.
Darkness rises, and light to meet it.
I need someone to show me my place in all this.
This is not going to go the way you think.
Welcome back to the Munro Review. Now, one interesting item I wrote in December was about the record box office receipts for Lion King at the Soroyan. to the tune of $3 million. Now, there aren't similar box office totals for local theater, but it's safe to say that the Good Company Players production of Mamma Mia would have been way up there on any 2018 list. That's why they're bringing it back. Now let's welcome Emily Pessano and Teddy Maldonado, who are reprising their roles in the show less than a year after the GCP premiere. Welcome.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here. Thank you so much. So is this pretty common for Good Company to bring a show back this soon?
Not really. We could probably count on one, maybe two hands the times that we've done something like this, but it's very few times that we've brought it back exactly a year after, or in this case, slightly less.
Right, right. And so maybe a couple of those others would have been Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, Christmas Story, the musical.
Christmas Story.
Back in the day, the first time we did Annie, I think, was one.
So when you did your very first performance of Mamma Mia, could you just tell that this was a hit? This was a local, it was going to be a local favorite?
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of knew beforehand.
Just because of the ticket sales,
just
right?
Because of people being so excited about the title. And we know that that's what people have been wanting to see. And of course, from our end, we've been saying, well, it's not available, you know, for years and years we haven't had access to this show, and we do now, and it's exciting.
Yeah, by the end of the show, you know, you can really tell that the audience, you know, they just love the music. And I think even for people who aren't ABBA fans, because I know there are a lot of them out there, I think you still, you know, are moved by the music and maybe hear a song that, you know, that comes back to you, or maybe you didn't hear before. So yeah, definitely by the end, we do kind of a big sort of hoedown at the very end, and we get people up and they're standing, you know, and we bring them up on stage, and so by the end, they're really, you know, they're moved and they love it.
It is a really amazing show. It's got so much heart. I actually saw Mamma Mia for the very first time in Toronto, and it was on September 12th, 2001.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And they were trying to decide whether they were, you know, going to kind of go on with the show. Right. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to go see a show, and it was the perfect show, you know, to see, because by the end, everybody was just up on their feet, dancing, happy, excited. It was nice.
Yeah, it's great in that way, because it's not just fluff, though. There is a story there, and there is some real heart, and we've worked in our production to really connect to that as much as possible and to keep it grounded and real for all of that, because the music speaks for itself. But yeah, by the end, I mean, it's one giant party.
Well, and one thing I really like about the show as well is that for a jukebox musical, it is so clever in how it took those songs and threaded them together to actually make a story, and it's an original story. It's one that just kind of pops up, and it's actually very fun to follow that story. So, Teddy, you play Sam. You're one of the three
potential
fathers. For those of you who don't know about Mamma Mia, explain what are you doing on this island?
So basically, Emily's character Donna has had these romances with three different gentlemen over the years, or around this particular summer when they were all in Greece together. So basically, because they had these romances, there was an offspring from it, a daughter, and the daughter's getting married, Sophie, and she's wanting to find out who her fathers are, because she wants someone to walk her down the aisle. And so she sends out these invitations to the fathers, keeping it from Donna, of course. It's a secret. So the fathers show up, and the excitement ensues from there. So it's fun. And to be honest, even though I play Sam, I still don't know who the father really is. So that's kind of an exciting aspect of it.
There's
they
that
kind of keep that hidden from us, so that way
kind of ambiguity.
You know,
do people ask you that at parties? Like, okay, who do you think the father is?
Yeah, when we were greeting last time, they'd be like, so which one was it? Or, you know, who's your favorite or something?
So for you, it's a pretty emotional role at times. I mean, you sing Winner Takes It All. I mean, it gets pretty intense for Donna.
Yeah, I would describe it as being basically in a completely different show than everyone else in the cast, because most of the people are having the party and have the sequins and all of that, and I have that too, but Donna's story is so different than everyone's. You know, she doesn't even have the wedding. It's not her wedding that is the happy light at the end of the tunnel. You know, she's kind of stressed and trying to make ends meet, and then these guys show up. And of course, you know, she has different feelings about each and every one of them. And really, Sam is the kind of the one that got away, and he was the first love. And then the others were sort of consoling myself over the loss
You put
of
things
him.
so delicately.
Yeah.
So what was it like to bring back a show so soon after it had finished its run?
Well,
Did you remember all the lyrics and the blocking? And
musically, and maybe it's just me, but musically, it's been like that. It comes right back. It's some of the blocking and some of the dances that you're sitting there in rehearsal kind of going, let's see.
But you still had to go through that whole rehearsal
Oh,
process
yeah.
because not all of the cast is returning. So what's the percentage?
Probably about half, give or take, are returning. We have two new dads, and our Sophie is.
So who plays the new dads?
We have Greg Greene plays Harry, and Ted Nunes plays Bill, and Sophie is played by Emma Denbeston.
Okay, and Sophie, your daughter.
Yeah, I have a new daughter.
You have a new daughter. Well, it's nice to kind of mix things
It's
up,
theater.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, and that's one of the wonderful things about theater too is that age doesn't matter as
Yeah.
much as it does.
Thankfully, because I think I am lucky to play this part, and it's a really great role. But I think I got lucky in the way everything worked out.
So one of the things I love about Mamma Mia is the backup singing, and even though you're principals, you're behind the curtain there, right? Singing when other people are on stage. Describe that scene for us. What is that like? Are people just all jammed all over the place?
Well, you know, during Tech Week, it can be chaotic. I mean, Tech Weeks are chaotic anyway, but you find sort of your position, and, you know, people will have quick changes backstage because they have to, you know, they're needed to be up on a microphone. But yeah, basically we have 2 microphones backstage, and, you know, that's another thing. You have to be very conscious of the noise you're making. I mean,
They're
there's no
live mics,
you know,
yeah.
And sometimes you're probably even changing costume, right?
Oh yeah, and that was the hardest part, and it will be again, is just navigating who needs to be in front of the mic to sing and who needs to rush
Right.
off to have a quick
Right.
change and come back. But yeah, we're all doing the same amount of work.
And keeping that balance also, you know,
Yeah.
that's crucial, so you don't have one, you know.
Well, we should set up a webcam or something back there just so we can
Sure.
we can see it.
Yeah, we'd love for you to see
So you
it.
open on January 17th.
Yes.
And how far do you, or when do you
We'll run
through?
through March 17th.
And so that's actually 10 months, probably. Like there's only a 10-month gap then
Yeah.
between.
Yeah.
So you could even almost rename the theater, the Mamma Mia Theater.
Exactly.
Well, we're going to bring you back for a musical number. We're very excited about that. We'll be hearing you in just a moment. But first, it's time for the list, which is a selection of things to do during the month of January. So there's a lot to do in January. Good Company Players kicks off the year at the Second Space Theater with Driving Miss Daisy. That's a classic, which opens January 4th. There will be a special engagement of the play Yanka on January 11th through 13th at Visalia Community Players. The national tour of The King and I stops in Fresno's Soroyan Theater on January 15th and 16th. That's an all-new production based on the Broadway revival. People are very excited about that. On January 20th, the Fresno Philharmonic welcomes acclaimed Pippa player Wu Man to a concert titled Tales of the Silk Road. And at Fresno Pacific, the Pacific Artist Series welcomes saxophonist Otto Lee on January 27th. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll hear SOS from Good Company Players. Welcome back to the Munro Review. Now let's close out the show with a performance from Mamma Mia featuring Emily and Teddy.
Where are those happy days they seem so hard to find. I try to reach for you, but you have closed your mind. Whatever happened to our love? I wish I understood. It used to be so nice, it used to be so good. So when you're near me, darling, can't you hear me? SOS. The love you gave me, nothing else can save me. SOS. When you're gone, how can I even try to go on? When you're gone, though I try, how can I carry on?
You seem so far away, though you are standing near. You made me feel alive, but something died, I fear. I really tried to make it out. I wish I understood what happened to our love. It used to be so good. So when you're near me, darling, can't you hear me? SOS. The love you gave me, nothing else could save me. SOS. When you're gone, how can I even try to go on? When you're gone, though I try, how can I carry on?
Why didn't you tell me it was Sophie getting married?
That's absolutely none of your business.
And what about this guy, Sky? Is he good enough for her?
That's none of your business either. So when you're near me, darling, can't you hear me? SOS. And the love you gave me, nothing else could save me. SOS. When you're gone, how can I even try to go on? When you're gone, though I try, how can I carry on?
Hey, wait a minute. That's not a part of the song. Oh.
Did I come on too soon?
No, you didn't. Happy New Year! Woo!
Well, that wraps it up for this month's episode of the Munro Review. Be sure to keep up online at munroreview.com and check out all the recent changes on the site, including a new optional membership feature. A big thank you to our volunteer crew. Yay!
Yeah!
And a thank you to all our guests, Ann Scheid, Alyssa Martin, and Katie Greene, and Emily Pessano and Teddy Maldonado. And for all of you, please keep exploring and supporting the local art scene.
You can't
we'll
be
see you next
contained.
time. I know, I
It's
can't
so
be contained.
exciting.
It's wild down here.
Yeah!
Bye. Thank you, guys.